The Mahoning Valley Daily Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Friday edition of the Mahoning Valley Daily Podcast. I'm Ron Cabuno, and it is December 10th. Thank you very much for tuning in. As always, if you like the show, like us on Facebook, subscribe and review on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to tell a friend, especially if that friend is into a wide-ranging, nuanced discussion of local, regional, national, and world events. Just a reminder, last night I made an appearance on the MLO Bros podcast, and we live streamed that thing for almost an hour and a half. It was fantastic, and even though young Isaac was not able to make it, Luke was an amazing and gracious host, and he even invited Mr. Joe Danier from Youngstown Studios to fill in, which he did masterfully. So check that out. It was a really fun conversation, and I didn't talk about politics once, at least not at length, which was absolutely mind-blowing to me and just a testament of how these guys are able to keep the conversation rolling and keep it light. So I definitely suggest that you tune into that. It's available on their Facebook page, and I will hopefully get a link up on the Mahoning Valley Daily Podcast Facebook page as well. As far as today goes, the biggest news breaking today were the inflation numbers. It said year over year, you're looking at 6.8%, which is not good. And even though the Fed said they will probably begin their taper, as they like to call it, and look to raise interest rates earlier than expected, there's still a lot of trepidation out there about where this could go. So hopefully they will be able to get this under control. I think one of the best moves Biden has made is keeping Jerome Powell in as chairman of the Fed. That type of congruency in such an important position is to be admired and should bolster confidence in what they plan on doing next. And I know it's just been, a day or so, but have you had a chance to go to Hogan's yet and have one of their cronuts or one of their sour cream old fashions? If not, and again, not sponsored at all, please check that out. My goodness. Give me that and a Sespe burger animal style. Matter of fact, I gotta have those guys on. But yeah, you put the two of those together and I'm already dreaming of a nap. In some state news, the Columbus Police Department has reached a $5.75 million settlement with more than 24 plaintiffs who say they were brutalized last year by the Columbus police during protests against racial justice. Obviously, if you saw any of the footage at the time, there were definitely cops overstepping their bounds left and right. So this is not about all the good cops out there. It's about the people who were exercising their power over and above what was warranted and some really inhumane tactics that were used against the citizens of Columbus. So it's good to see that they are being held to account for when they aren't following the letter of the law. I mean, we're talking about broken shins, temporary blinding, and a host of other absolutely abhorrent injuries to essentially peaceful protesters. Let's hope we don't see a summer like 2020 anytime soon. I mean, that may be wishful thinking, but here I am doing it. In entertainment news, which I am never always on top of, but I do my best. I know we've got some Disney on Ice coming up this weekend. That's going to be down at the Cavelli. There's an Alien Who Stole Christmas program at the Ward Beecher Planetarium. Of course, you've got the continuing production of Elf the Musical, the first show back at the Youngstown Playhouse since its reopening, and a host of other stuff going on. That quarterback from Alabama is probably a shoo-in to get the Heisman, so don't waste your time on that. I think I might work up the gumption to strap on some ice skates and go to the Southern Park Mall. Probably on Sunday because we're probably going to get hit with a monsoon tomorrow. Be sure to have your galoshes out. Nothing like a mid-December downpour to get you in the season, but let's hope that ice is ready to go on Sunday afternoon. I'm not even sure if they're open on Sundays, but why wouldn't they be? I'll check. You should check too. Another thing we talked about on the MLO Bros podcast was how these local podcasts cannot be trusted to be official news sources, which is true. But I also said that we have to do our best to stay in a tight orbit to the truth and the kernel of the news and not go too opinionated so that people can feel like they're getting at least only a semi-opinionated account of the events. So keep that in mind. I think at least half of the local population is happy that the Steelers look like they're going down the toilet, but the Browns aren't looking that much better. Luckily, they have an opportunity in division against the Ravens at 1 o'clock at home to try and claw their way back into the playoffs a little bit. It's still wide open in the AFC, and everybody in the division, coincidentally, is still at 500 or better. Nothing like parity to keep you riveted till the end of the season. With that, I guess we're going to keep it short today. I wish you guys a happy weekend. Got some good interviews scheduled for next week, so stay tuned to that. And here's another friendly reminder to go out and do a good deed this weekend. And I know it's the season of giving, so let's open up our pocketbooks and our schedules to something greater than ourselves. I think I'm going to try caroling this year. Have a good one, and we will see you on the next Mahoning Valley Daily Podcast.